Start all the videos like this, just staring. Good morning, guys. I'm gonna be planning a couple PC builds today. I've actually really been enjoying the series. I don't know how long I'll keep it on, but I definitely am going to keep doing this. Seems to be helping you guys, and I think you guys are enjoying it because the responses have been pretty good. So yeah, so today we're gonna plan an AMD build. It's gonna be all AMD. It's gonna be geared 100% towards gaming, and then I'm gonna make another build. It's gonna be Intel because I do like just kind of like the new Intel platform. I don't care for DDR5, so that's not going to be in this because it's just way too expensive and it doesn't make any sense. Both of these builds are going to be kind of mid-range builds, so it's going to be all AMD and then Intel and Nvidia. So let's hop into it. On my PC, which you guys can obviously see, we're going to start with the AMD build. Probably going to throw in, if we're just gaming, we're going to throw in this 5600X, and it's actually $199.99 right now. Let's actually see where it's $199. Oh, that's crazy. That's at Newegg right now. That's actually really cheap, and I actually have this CPU in my computer right now. Amazing CPU. Definitely going to add that in. Cooler, it's not a very hot chip. You don't need something crazy like a Hyper 212. This Arctic freezer would be a good contender. There's so many. There's this Vitro one, which I've actually been hearing a lot of good reviews on. So let's they also have this Scythe one too. That's a really good cooler as well. EK is actually the cooler that I want to put in my system, but I'm still fighting myself if I actually want to do that or not. Put that in this air cooler. For motherboard, so we're gonna do a B550. I wonder if you can. First, we're going to do ATX, and then we're going to do B550. You don't need a Strix motherboard. Do this Gigabyte Aorus Elite one. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm someone that does need Wi-Fi, so if you're somebody that does need Wi-Fi, you can get the Wi-Fi version of this board. For just gaming, I want to see if we can find like a $60 kit of 16 gigabytes of RAM. One thing I want to know too, I've been seeing a lot of people on Reddit and on YouTube doing PC builds, and they're only putting in 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's kind of a poor choice in my opinion. I mean, if you really can't afford another stick of RAM, whatever, but in my opinion, you always need to have at least 16 gigabytes of RAM because just having the dual channel just helps so much in gaming and just multitasking as well. So I was talking to this kid on Reddit, and he only had 8 gigabytes of RAM, and he was wondering why when he has a couple tabs open and then tries to game, why he gets a lot of stutters. And so he ended up adding in another stick of RAM and completely fixed his problem. Dude, we can do this T-Force Vulcan set because we're not really going for aesthetics in this build. At $65, so we're at $435 right now, and this is definitely such an amazing processor. I'm actually mind blown that it's so cheap right now. Storage, we're just gonna get a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. I want something maybe in the $80 range. There's this silicone power one. I mean, we might just go with the silicon power one. We can throw that in there. We can do that. I'm gonna sip some hot chocolate. Video cards. So if you guys are unaware, graphics card prices are going down. You can actually go to like Newegg, Micro Center, Amazon, and actually buy a card that's in stock right now. At the time of this recording, they are still kind of overpriced. The prices are going down, but you know, there are still just astronomical prices for certain things that shouldn't be so expensive. Like, if we look at this 2060, it's for $400. Honestly, I mean, this card is a previous generation, and it's actually the lowest out of the 20 series cards, and so paying $400 for that seems a little bit expensive for me. I feel like it should be somewhere around like $300 to $200. But we're going for an all AMD build. Thinking, I mean, if we want to do 1440p and 1080p, we're not going to push 4K. I don't think that 4K gaming is something that a lot of people are pushing for right now. I feel like the sweet spot is 1080p and 1440p right now, but definitely 1440p. I'm around a 6700, 6800 would be a good medium. So they actually have the 6700, the Speedster XFX 6700 XT, and that's only $629, which is crazy because I actually bought my 6600 XT for about that price. So let's see. So I mean, we should go with the cheapest one we can because they all generally perform the same. It's just they have different coolers on them. Take a hot chocolate break. $629. I think that's a good deal. It's at B&H, so you know you're getting it from a retailer that is decent. Let's see, we're gonna do case. So we have an ATX motherboard, so I want to get an ATX case. I want something with decent airflow. I always choose the 4000D. We're not going to choose 4000D. I do want to keep it under like $100. I feel like buying super expensive cases still doesn't make too much sense to me. About $100 is about what I would spend on a decent case, because there are tons of cases that you can buy, but once you start going over like $100, $150, $200, I just think that's kind of a waste of money unless you absolutely need it. Some people, they look at flashiness and then the case doesn't actually have good airflow, or it doesn't have all the features that they need or anything. So that's just something to think about. This Antec, let's look at this one. Comes with 3 fans. I'm not a huge fan of RGB, but that's just a preference of mine. It looks like it will fit everything that we need to. Has some USB headers, input jacks, and let's see, comes with all the standoffs installed, and we get 3 fans, and it's kind of like a compact case. I think this would actually work really well. So we already have 3 fans installed, so we actually don't need more fans, and we have the CPU cooler right there. So 6700 doesn't draw a ton of power. The 5600 does not draw a ton of power either, and we're looking at an estimated wattage of about 400 watts, give or take. So I'm thinking maybe a 650 watt power supply would do us justice for $64. I mean, we could cut the cost, go bronze, actually save a lot of money. But it's kind of interesting because you see these bronze power supplies right here. I believe they're the newer models though, but these ones are actually non-modular, whereas this one's actually fully modular. So let's add this one in. We're not going to do monitors or operating system. You guys can either use like free Windows, or you can buy your own CD key wherever you decide to do that. If we're looking at this, we got the 5600X, the Vitro V5, which I've heard a lot of good things about, and it's a pretty cheap cooler as well. The Gigabyte B550 Aorus Elite ATX AM4 motherboard. We got some T-Force RAM, $65, 2x8 gigabytes, so we got 16 gigs total. The Silicon Power NVMe drive, we got 1 terabyte. Personally, in my opinion, I would always go with the max amount of storage you can afford. So with this drive, it's only $80, which is a really good deal. And it's Gen 3. I don't really see the need in Gen 4 right now unless you absolutely need it. If you want to add additional storage, I would just throw in like a 2 or 4 terabyte hard drive if you're just gaming. So you can just put in any extra games that you may want to play later on but don't want to throw on your NVMe drive. For the video card, we have 6700 XT. It's a 12 gigabyte model from XFX, and it is $629, which is a really amazing price. And I actually would have just bought this myself already if I didn't have my 3060 Ti. So yeah. Then we got the Antec NX410 mid-tower case as well. We get 3 fans, so we don't actually need additional fans. And then we have the Corsair Rmx. It's from 2018, so it's an older model, but it's only $64.99, which I think is an amazing deal, and it's $20 off. So with the base total, it is $1344.89, and then we have some discounts and then mail-in rebates as well. So brings our total to just under $1,300, which, I mean, you can't go wrong with this build. This build will easily do 1440p. 1080p would just be absolutely a monster with this. But definitely 1440p, high settings. Most games will run absolutely perfect on it. So yeah, I think this is a great contender for any person that is looking to build kind of like a mid-range, semi-mid-range kind of build. We're going to do the Intel build. If we're going to be doing gaming purely, because these builds are just for gaming, we're not doing streaming or anything else. So I'd probably go 12600K or 12400F. We're going to go with the cheaper one. We're going to go with this. It's 6 cores, 12 threads. We're going to go cooler. We could go air cooler again. We could do the Vitro one that we found. We could go Noctua. Noctua makes amazing coolers. We could go with this Arctic one. I think I want to keep it about $50 or less as far as an air cooler. Let's do this Scythe one. It's about 50 bucks. I know this is an amazing cooler. I actually installed it in my friend's computer the other day, so that's an amazing cooler. We're gonna do, as far as motherboards, so difficult thing with motherboards right now for the new Intel chips is that they're expensive, especially the DDR5 ones. See, some of the DDR4 ones too. This one right here, I believe it's the DDR5 model, and I mean it's like 600 bucks, which is just insane to me. I would never buy that for that price, which is, I mean, that's definitely for enthusiasts, but yeah, I could never spend that much on a motherboard. So put in ATX motherboards, I think around 200. They have this Asus Prime one. Let's take a look at this one. It's definitely a cheaper one. Doesn't have a lot of rear IO, but we'll add this in. 140 bucks. It's going to be a semi-decent motherboard. It's going to give you all the features that you need. So we're gonna throw that one in there. And then as far as RAM, we could do RGB, but that is more money. We could do this Corsair Vengeance Lpx Kit. I feel like we do use Corsair pretty regularly though, so let's see. I want to keep it around $60–70. And we could go with this. That's super fast. I think 3000. Yeah, we'll go with this Corsair Vengeance. It's 3000 megahertz. You could always overclock it to 3200 megahertz if you really want to, but we're gonna go with this one. Storage wise, we're gonna go with a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. I think I want to go with a little bit faster drive, so let's go with this 970 Evo. It is a little bit expensive, but I think it's going to be a good contender. So video card. So I obviously said GPU prices are going down. As far as 1440p and 1080p, that's what we're kind of aiming for. A 3060 would be just fine. 3060 Ti would also be amazing as well. So let's type in 3060 Ti. See what we got here. I know the prices have been going down. They have this Zotac twin edge one as well. Let's see here. They got a decent amount of them. This Gigabyte one is actually, it's the low hash rate one, which is fine because we're not going to be mining. It's just going to be for gaming. So let's go with this one. It's about the same price as the other GPU, and they'll perform relatively about the same. So we're currently at 1188.88, and we still need a case and we still need a power supply. So power supply for the 3060 Ti, you could get away with 650. That's probably about the minimum I would go for it. I have a 750 watt in my PC right now, so if I wanted to, I could go to a 3070 Ti and generally be fine, but I would probably want to upgrade to a 850. That's just something to keep in mind. We could use the same power supply, but I kind of want to see if there's anything else the cheaper side. I generally try to use gold or up. This Cooler Master bronze one, this Asus ROG Strix one, it's $95. It's a little bit expensive. I've never heard of Bitphoenix, so we're not going to use them. I generally try to use Corsair, Seasonic, EVGA, NZXT makes good ones, Be Quiet makes good ones as well. Kind of want to keep it in that range. As far as like manufacturers, Thermaltake I haven't used before, but I've heard good things about that. So let's just throw in this Corsair one. It's not too much. It's about $65, and we're currently at $1,253.87. Pretty good right now. We're gonna go with the case, and we want to drop it to about $100 for a case, because I think spending any more than that would be a little bit overkill. Especially for just gaming, we don't need a crazy fancy case. So let's see, this Fantex Eclipse case, it doesn't come with 3 fans. I want something that does come with a couple fans as well. This Fantex Eclipse one, I think we're gonna go with this one. So we're gonna add this in. We are gonna need a additional fan as well. I believe So there's 2 fans, yep, so we're gonna need 1 more fan, which won't cost us too much. So we'll just go to case fans. Let's see, I don't want to spend too much. Maybe, yeah, I think these Cooler Master. So this build is obviously a little bit more expensive than the other build, but that is because we put in a little bit more expensive hardware. We do have the more expensive drive, the RAM is a little bit more expensive, the GPU is basically the same. I believe the case is a little bit more expensive, and then we have some extra case fans, which obviously brings up the price as well. But for 1080p and 1440p, this would be absolutely an amazing build. You would have high settings, most of them would be max settings at 1080p, and then as far as 1440p, you'd definitely be able to play on high. Some of them you'd be able to max out, just depending on the game. But yeah, and then we got some mail-in rebates, so there's $20 off. So yeah, as far as this whole build, I think this would just be an amazing build for Intel. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. I mean, if you want to, you know, do this, you can definitely swap out the motherboard if you want something more expensive. You can always swap out the drive. You can add additional storage. You can always go with a 3070 Ti. You could go with a 3070. You could go with a 3050, 3060 as well. You know, whatever you want to do. But I like throwing these out there just kind of to give you guys, you know, some information on builds that you could do, because I know there's tons of people that want to build a computer but have no idea as far as parts and, you know, what goes together, what doesn't go together, and what will actually work. But yeah, I'm gonna close out the video. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, push the bell button, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.